All right, folks, let's get into it. This is pretty important. I just came across an article that's very short. It's entitled, "Iran Reportedly Smuggled Weapons into Syria Under Pretext of Earthquake Relief." And what's in the article is kind of important, but what it actually implies is way bigger than the article itself. So let's get into it. It says the Islamic Republic of Iran smuggled military equipment into Syria under the guise of transporting earthquake relief aid, according to a Reuters report. Now, Reuters drew from Western, Iranian, Israeli, and Syrian sources to establish that the weapons transfer was intended to fortify the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, as well as Tehran's military front on Israel's northern border. Pay attention to this, folks. The Iranian military equipment was reportedly transported on hundreds of flights from Iran to Syrian airports in Damascus, now Aleppo and Latakia, following a devastating pair of earthquakes in February, which killed more than 50,000 people in Turkey and Syria. By the way, when those earthquakes were happening, I said there was more than meets the eye, and we're about to get into a very small part of that right here. While the majority, the article goes on to say, while the majority of the victims were Turkish, the earthquake was responsible for the deaths of at least 6,000 Syrians, according to the United Nations. And they gave an estimate regarding the deaths in this area, and this is according to the United Nations source. The article goes on to say Iranian diplomats at the UN rejected the report about Iran smuggling large quantities of weapons into Syria. However, an Israeli defense official who agreed to speak on condition of anonymity confirmed that Iran transferred significant amounts of weaponry into Syria. Under the guise of shipments of earthquake aid to Syria, Israel has seen significant movements of military equipment from Iran, mainly transported in parts, said the defense official. Now, Israel has responded to the repositioning of weapons, which are considered a threat to the state, by stepping up its aerial attacks on Iranian military targets across Syria, and the Israeli Air Force has reportedly targeted senior Iranian military officials in the country. Folks, I'm going to stop. I don't have to read the rest of this article, but here are the important things to focus on. Number one, the United States of America knew this was happening. Not only did it know it was happening, but even knowing what was going on, they rejected Israel's request to find the support necessary to be able to keep their fighters up in the air to deal with what they were seeing going on in Syria. Folks, that's no joke. If you remember the request that was made by Israel for those refuelers and how quickly we rejected getting that to them, all of that relates to this story right here. And perhaps what is even more significant than this is all of this happened at the request and very likely with the permission, in many cases, of Russia. Russia knew exactly what was going on. They're allowing the repositioning of these weapons, and they are repositioning. They are not an aid to Assad. I can promise you that. This is not something that's helping to shore up Syria's defense, because Syria is being well defended by Russia. This has everything to do with Iran placing its military assets in Syria as a staging area for very likely what we know will be a part of what Ezekiel 38 says. Folks, we are watching it formulate right now, and if it cannot be seen by the average Joe, it should be able to be seen by people who study the Bible. What we are seeing is historic, it's unprecedented, and it gives us more evidence of the fact that God's word is true and it's real. Folks, this stuff can break out at any moment now. We got to keep our heads up. We got to keep our eyes open, and we've got to keep looking to the Lord. It's happening sooner than we think. God bless you.